when your client comes back in two weeks, 3 weeks for a fill, this is probably the most important part is the prep work. Taking off that old polish, taking off the charms, and doing it effectively is going to be the most important part of your work. What you see here is just me taking off that initial top coat along with the design I had. For every client, it should be a brand new clean nail file, a brand new clean buffer, a brand new clean sanding band, along with any drill bit you feel like you're going to use. And if I know I'm going to use a cuticle nipper, that should also already be sanitized and disinfected in that package. What you're going to see me do here is bring out my drill, and I'm cutting the cuticles closer with the drill. This type of drill bit with the flat top, some of them are round. You're going to see me switch this out because I don't know for what reason, I slice up my own fingers using this type of drill bit. And I keep trying to practice with this so that I could get better, but my fingers hurt too much. Like, I always nick myself. So I'm going to end up changing this drill bit. But the purpose of me doing this right now is getting close to the cuticle and trying to get any lifting spots that I see close to the nail plate. While you guys watch me do this, I also did want to explain. I take off polish with a hand file and I don't use the drill because my expertise and my experience with the drill is it just leaves the nail too uneven by the time I'm finished. I would much rather do it with a hand file. You cover more area because the drill bit is not that big. And with the hand file, you can ensure that it's relatively smooth on all sides. Sometimes the drill bit, it just takes out chunks because I use the drill bit on high when I try to cut down my polish. It just will spin around and get a little bit of a chunk here, a chunk here, and chunk here. Then it has created more work for me when I go to lay my acrylic. I have personally just found it easier to hand file all the color down, use the drill bit around the cuticles to cut close, use the sanding band just to push back the cuticles, cut the cuticles as needed, and move on from there as far as prep work goes. So I'm just going to be continuing on here with getting all of my lifting. These nails have been on for about 4 weeks, so I really do have to get in there and get all this lifting because there is quite a bit. So I'm going to continue doing that here. Finding a drill bit that you're comfortable using is very important, and I'm always going to recommend use your supplies on yourself first, because if I were to go on a client and not know that I was nicking them with the other drill bit that I was using, I would have probably lost a client because they're gonna the next couple of days their fingers are going to be hurting. So making sure you're trying them on yourself first so you know how it feels, how high of a speed you can use with the drill bits, how close you can get to the skin with the drill bit, so on and so forth. These things are really important just as far as getting to know your tools and your utensils before working on clients because that's what gains your experience. After I've gone around with the drill bit, I go back in with my hand file to even things out, just at the cuticle and blending it back into the same level of acrylic that I have towards the tip of my nail. And all y'all are seeing here is me doing the same exact thing on my non-dominant hand. Cutting the cuticles is probably by far the most nerve-wracking part when you're in the beginning and you haven't really cut that many cuticles. That's why I said before, again, practice on yourself. Cut your own cuticles first. It's only going to take you a couple of times of you cutting your own live skin at the cuticle. Once you know what that feels like, you'll understand deeper what you're supposed to be cutting and what it looks like of what you're supposed to be cutting. You're going to see here, I'm going to start with the corner piece, and I'm not going to go in immediately to try to get off the whole thing. I'm going to take a piece and I'm going to lift it and feather it away. When I do grab it, I'm pulling away. Once you start that band, you see more clearly how much space you have in between from the cuticle, from the living skin to cut. Once you're going to see me finish with this finger and just going back and getting a little bit that I forgot, you're going to see this is ideal prep work. This is what you want your base and your foundation to look like once you're ready to apply your nail dehydrator and your bond. Flush, you don't see no lifting, your cuticles are gone, it's even, the natural oils, the shininess is gone from the nail plate. Now that you saw me cut my cuticles, I'm going in with the clean sanding band. I'm doing this because I want to make sure that there's no oils, natural oils by the cuticle after I made a small space from cutting my cuticles. I'm just going around and buffing the natural nail, nothing else. process of taking off any old charms, any old polish, getting any lifting with the drill, the filing down of the nail, the reshaping, getting your sides, getting your tip back crisp, making the nails level again. You're pushing back the cuticle, you're cutting your cuticles, you're taking the shine off the natural nails, and you're reshaping towards the end. By the end, you are ready to apply your protein bond or your nail dehydrator. Then you're going to start going in with your acrylic. Your beads for a fill when it comes to an acrylic should be very small. Two weeks of fill, 4 weeks for a fill. There's not that much new growth to be having to go in with a huge bead. Something about this size. And you're placing it a little bit above. You're not going to place it right at the cuticle. You're going to push the bead back into the cuticle, keeping in mind you're pointing the finger downward and go on from every finger from there.